Awesome. All right. So thank you, David. So let's start with the first level, level 100. This is we're gonna start a very high level at this point of 50,000 feet if you're in an airplane. So and then we're gonna go drill down onto the different technologies and all the things that you need to learn. So first level here is understanding what is an Azure application. So for us to talk about that, so the first thing that we want to go through is, what are these Azure applications that you're going to be learning today. So number one, in the set of Azure applications is an Azure Marketplace type of offer that is for you to utilize, and in addition to other offers that we have, these Azure applications are a solution, a technology that we have in order for you to deploy your solution, your products into a customer subscription. And they do have a custom UI, a customer user experience that you can provide to your customers. So when they deploy your solution into the marketplace, into the customer subscriptions, they have a great experience adding like username, passwords, they selecting the virtual machine sizes and so on. On the right here, I have a screenshot of all the different offers that we have in the marketplace today. We are going to focus on the Azure application. So when we go deeper, you're going to find out where this menu is and how to get to it. But this is just for showing you the different options and the one that we're going to be talking. Okay, so just to start, there are two types of Azure applications. We have something called the Azure Solution Application or Solution Template. This one this type of solution application that we have is a solution that you will deploy on the customer tenant, right? So you have, let's say, a very nice solution, AI, machine learning, IoT, and you want to have some customer deploying it. This solution will be deployed on the customer environment. And because it's deployed in the customer environment, the Azure Solution Application is owned by the buyer, and the buyer will maintain it. Then, of course, the publisher, or you as a publisher, you have no way to do maintenance on that except for maybe over-the-shoulder call to the customer or something like that. But you have no access to that environment unless the customer allow you to do a Teams meeting, for example, and you walk through a remote sharing. And they are not transactable. So these Azure Solution Applications are not transactable, meaning that there's no money between the buyer and Microsoft and the publishers. Right now, the one we're going to be talking today. Okay, we have David. Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking for it.
Yeah, if you know speaking, please keep your microphone in mute. Thank you, David.
You bet.
Okay. Well, so we're back here into the second type of Azure application, which is the Azure Managed Application, the one that we're going to be going deep today, which has similarities to the Azure Solution Application. The first one is, this guy is not moving. There you go. It deploys on the customer subscription, so just like the solution application. But in this case, you as a publisher has ownership of the environment that gets deployed on the customer environment. And then you have also control of what that buyer can do inside your solution. So you're going to allow some read access to some resources that gets deployed on the buyer subscription. This is something you can configure as well in the managed application. So there's more control of the type of access that it will be in this solution. And of course, it's transactable, meaning that once the customer deploys the Azure Managed Application on the customers on the buyer subscription, then you will have a way for as a publisher, you have a way to charge for the environment that is being deployed on that customer environment. And this will be into we're going to go into more details onto the billing, but monthly or metered. Okay. So these Azure applications, either of the two solution templates or managed applications, they don't live in a void. There is a technology that is today in Azure, which is called the Service Catalog Deployment. This means that if you have a very nice technology inside your company. And I'm going to use an example. So let's say you have a DevOps infrastructure that you wrote for your company. Maybe you have a very nice pipeline to build software from source code all the way to a product, right? It could be a machine learning pipeline. And the machine learning pipeline is so awesome that you want other teams within your own organization to use it. So what you do is you take that pipeline, you package it, right? And you will put it in this service catalog inside Azure, where then you can tell all the teams inside your organization to go click a button and deploy the exact same pipeline that you program. So technically, your entire company will have a common pipeline of ML or DevOps across the entire company. And that template that is used goes in what is called a service catalog deployment, right? So you get a file, you package it, you put it in a storage account, you zip it, and then you will push that zip file into the service catalog. And then in the future, right, anybody in your team will deploy it from there. And then let's say this is so successful, across the entire organization, it's amazing. And someone said, hey, maybe we should put this in the marketplace, the Microsoft Marketplace, and sell it. Maybe we make some money out of it. And you can do that. So in the same service catalog application that you create in your company, it cannot be published as an Azure Managed Application and be sold on the marketplace. Okay, so now we're gonna, instead of going over the overview anymore, we're gonna go into the Managed Application itself. Okay, so like we said, a Managed Application is a type of Azure app. Is deployed on the customer environment, and the customer, the publisher takes the responsibility of that environment inside the customer subscription. You will have, and again, there are two types of managed application, which is internal and external, as I just explained, right? So this is how it works. And we went over, how the idea deploys. So in the case of you as a publisher, you create an Azure Managed Application, right? And that managed application get published to a service catalog, which now, once you get this working, right? If it's very successful, we're going to go into the Azure Marketplace and publish it. What I want to get into the slide deck is the same process that you have for internal users. When you decide to build a managed application and put it out there for people to use it, while you are developing it, you could use the internal process to actually build it and test it before you actually make it public to others to use. So if you don't need to do internal at all, inside your organization, but if you do want to go straight to publish something, a solution, a product to the marketplace, you now have a mechanism to test it ahead of time, verify it, make sure that everything works properly, and then bring it to the marketplace, right? So, okay, so now you will ask, okay, this is great, Julio, but how why do I need to use this? Why is this important? Can I just ship my ARM template, my recipe of my deployment, or a script to the customer and let them use it? That this is easier. Well, there are a few things why you may want to use the managed application. Number one is you can protect your intellectual property. So when a managed application gets deployed, it's like a lockbox. Your buyer, customer, won't be able to access the bits that are inside the managed application. And so that's very important for many partners. And one example of this partner would be a machine learning partner where they spend millions of dollars building that model, and they wanted to protect it so no one can access it and steal it, right? Because it's a lot of money in building that model. So you want to protect that IP and make sure that only because the customer can use it inside the subscription, but they cannot go in and get it out. Another reason to use managed applications is that you control the environment. So you decide when the updates are going to happen. You control, who has access, when the VMs are rebooted or the environment gets, restarted. You control the environment, even that is on the buyer subscription. And then we already talked about the permission. So this is something that is very important if you want to protect the IP, and there are ways to tweak the permissions. So some customers have access, for example, to a database, but not to the VMs, and access to storage and so on. And also, we offer different deployments. So if you have a standard deployment for maybe the small businesses, you can have that. Under the same offer, you could have enterprise plan where maybe it would be a more complex environment for people to deploy it. Okay. Now we will be using a couple of acronyms here while we are in this workshop. So these are the ones that you really have to keep in mind, and these are some of the special keywords that you will be hearing a lot. So the first one will be managed resource group, and if you have a pen and paper on next to you or something, just write it down. Managed resource group, or MRG. These are the resource group where the application, your solution, will be deployed, right? The other important word here will be application resource group, which is where the application will be seen by the buyer. And the way to see the difference between one and the other is when you have your mobile phone, right? You have your phone and you buy an app on the application store. What will happen is that you go to the application store, you deploy the application on your phone, you see an icon, right? And that's the icon technically will be the way for you to access those resources on that app, right? So that application icon, right, that will be your application resource group. And then what's happening behind the scenes on your phone, if it's a database or a file system, that is on the managed resource group. This is the backend piece that the customer don't actually get to see, but it's being managed by the publisher. And then we have a security group, which is the support group that will be taking care of the MRGs, the managed resource group. And this could be the technical team, the support team that gets a call, and they're gonna dive into the environment to fix it. That will be your security group. And the security group uses a service principal to connect. And this is like a token kind of thing, to keep it simple, where that service principal is used, that ID is being used to access the environment. So your security group uses a service principal to access the MRG. Okay, so just write this down. This is going to be very important as we're going to be using these keywords a lot. Okay, so how does a customer buys a managed app? So number one, the managed app can be seen from two different portals that we have. The main portal is the Azure Marketplace.microsoft.com, the picture on the left. And this is a very robust portal. You will see picture, videos, everything is there. You see the ratings. So the search has filters. It's a very, very complete way to find Azure applications in Microsoft. And then you have a second portal, which is the Azure Portal itself. The cloud management tool that we have for Azure. And this one provides some filtering capabilities, so you can actually search at the top here. You can find you can type any type of solution, a database or a storage system, and it will give you a result on the marketplace for that product you're looking. Or you can just type marketplace and it will bring you a marketplace page where you will see also the list of applications that are available for you to deploy into your environment. So these are the two main ways to get Azure applications seen by the partners. Okay, so what is the experience for someone who's trying to deploy a managed application? So first, once the customer find what they're looking for, either on the Azure Marketplace or in the portal, they will go in a similar screen, which is this guy here. And in this screen, you will have, by default, a tab called Basic. And the tab that is Basic will allow you to, as a buyer, to pick one of my subscriptions, right? It's going to allow me to pick a resource group or create a new one where everything will be deployed, and then which region of the world or you want to deploy this. Then depending on what you're deploying, then you have to enter the username, passwords, SSH keys, and then at the bottom here, the other way, you will see that there is a section that says, I need the application details for the managed resource group. So you have the application resource group, which is at the top, and this is the managed resource group where everything will be deployed for that publisher. Now, something I want you to notice in the screen is that we have this first list of controls on the Basic tab, which is pick region, username, password. But you as a publisher, you have now a way to customize this to add additional controls. So you have drop downs, right? So in example, in the second page here, in the second tab, you can pick virtual networks that are already established by the customer, so they connect to current virtual network that they have established. If you have an environment that have multiple nodes, you can have a drop down with the numbers, size of the virtual machines. You can have radio buttons, so you can do selections if you want to enable some features or not. Security, you can add, passwords, SSH keys, and certificates, all that. We have pickers for you to select files and add that into the environment later. And at the end, when the customer set up the entire the deployment, how they want or what they want in that deployment, at the end here, there's a review. It verifies everything is correctly set up. The number of characters, settings, so everything match the way that it's supposed to. Otherwise, it will, have some red buttons or red dots on the failure, so you can go back and fix it. And at the end, on top of checking those checking the validation of the page and the settings, there will be a section at the bottom where the customer has to agree that you as a publisher will have access to his environment, only to that managed resource group for maintenance, right? To do support. Okay. And once it's complete, of course, after the click deployment and everything gets deployed, what the buyer will see is, like I said, in the phone case, it will be an icon, right? And this will be, a similar icon to what the customer will see. You can click on the blue link, and you will see a lot more information regarding that deployment. David is going to go through that, so I'll let him show that on the demo that we're going to have by David.